Hey everybody, Michael Church, Crawl Space Ninja. My YouTube account made me verify it was me, so I apologize for taking a second to come online with everybody today. So I just want to thank everyone for being on, and just want to hope everybody had a great and safe Halloween yesterday. If you want to tell me in the chat what you dressed up as, let me know. My youngest went as Edward Scissorhands, and he looked fantastic. So I hope you had a great Halloween. Real quick, couple of announcements that Tiffany has asked me to make is we are continuing our Halloween sale until the 3rd of November, and we're using code CreepyCrawl24 for 15% off. I'm going to put it in the chat. CreepyCrawl24. Get 15% off of your total order. Offer ends on the 3rd, and then on the 4th, we're starting a new deal where you'll get a free pair of disposable coveralls with any order over $500. So I hope that helps everybody out. And make sure you check out our podcast. And of course, my book is available in the links in the descriptions down below. And as we're getting away from Halloween and rolling into the time of Thanksgiving, just wanted to wish everybody a future Thanksgiving, because our next live stream isn't until the 29th. So Thanksgiving will already have come and gone by the time our next live stream happens. So I hope all of you have a happy and wonderful Thanksgiving. And I am so thankful for each and every one of you joining me today. So one last thing I wanted to tell you, that we turned on our join options on our YouTube channel and our videos. There are 3 different tiers. If you want to be involved in that, click on join and it'll tell you. Tier 2, for example, is to get you early access to videos as we release them. And tier 3 is to get a customized short based on a problem or an issue or a question that you might have. So make sure you check out those tiers. So today we want to get started, and got our first question. Tiffany's already given me that. This doesn't say who it came from, but it says, I have watched almost all of your videos on crawl spaces. Thank you so much for the great information. I have a manufactured home with 1,500 square feet and 5-foot high tall crawl space. I just placed concrete in over 10 mil vapor barrier, put in a 2-inch rigid foam board on the walls, and added a dehumidifier and sealed the vents. Humidity went from 80% to 45 or below. My idea now is to place a crawl space vent in one of the holes. The CFM is my question. The vent fans range from 100 to 500 CFM. So let me answer that real quick. There's a couple other things that they were asking, but whenever you're doing a crawl space, there's something called the Indoor Air Plus program by the EPA, which came out many years ago. And what they were trying to say is that you should never completely seal a crawl space. Okay. So in other words, don't just seal all of the vents, because if you have a vented crawl space, those are the windows of the crawl space. Just like if you're in your kitchen and you burn bacon or fish or something like that, imagine not being able to open those windows, right? So or if you had the windows open all the time in this scenario, so your crawl space is vented, the windows are open all the time, those soil gases just freely go in and out of those open windows, just like odors would in your home if the windows were open. Well, now that you've decided to control humidity and seal all of those vents, the EPA Indoor Air Plus program says that you should create negative air going out of the crawl space at a rate of 1 CFM for every 50 square feet. It does not care about cubic footage, so the height of the crawl space is irrelevant. So if you have a 100 CFM crawl space, according to that calculation, you can ventilate up to a 5,000 square foot crawl space based on 1 CFM for every 50 square feet. Now, that being said, if you have a crawl space that's chopped up, or maybe there's an addition or air doesn't move really well, you might have to add more ventilation in order to do that. And you can get really tricky with some of these bathroom fans that have the ducting. You can pull or push air anywhere you want. But basically, the calculation is 1 CFM for every 50 square feet. So that's the answer to the first part of that question. Then they were also asking about the furnace. Now, yes, the furnace, if you have central heat and air, it will override the fan in the crawl space, and that's just normal. stack effect, anything like that. If the subfloor of the crawl space is not air sealed, it could also override the CFM being pushed out. So you want to make sure you try to air seal that subfloor. Any kind of major penetrations, the rim joist insulation, try to keep as much air in the crawl space as possible. But if your furnace is in the crawl space, it will, while it's running, probably overrun the CFM of the fan that I'm speaking of, just to give you an idea. And if you want to know if you have a gas furnace and you want to know if that will affect anything, make it dangerous due to carbon monoxide or anything like that, I highly recommend you contact your local HVAC or furnace contractor about that question. So great question. Thank you so much. Here's another one. After following your recommendation to encapsulate my 1,300 square feet crawl space and successfully lowering the humidity to 55% with a Revolution high grain dehumidifier, I noticed it cycles frequently, shutting off, then kicking back on as the RH rises 5 to 8% within 10 to 15 minutes. Is this normal? And could my use of a box fan to circulate air be affecting the humidity stability? All right. That's a good question, and it's kind of the kind of question that I would need a little bit more information, but I'm going to give you some scenarios. So let's say that you just threw down loose laid plastic on the ground, didn't overlap it and tape it, didn't have plastic going up the foundation walls, didn't wrap the pillars. You just had ground plastic on the ground. All right. That's it. Not really taped, just loose. And you stick a dehumidifier in there. That dehumidifier will run more because the vapor or the moisture is coming from behind the plastic into the crawl space more often. Okay, so what encapsulation does, and what I mean by that is the more sealed up the crawl space is, the more plastic is covering damp walls or a damp pillar, the better you have the vents sealed, the better the rim joists are insulated, the better the door, the crawl space door is sealed up, the better, more airtight you make that crawl space from the soil moisture and the outside moisture, the less that dehumidifier will run. All right. So what normally happens, I don't know too much about the Revolution product. I can look it up maybe later, but let's use either the Ninja Dry Pro 70, which is available on the DIY store, or one of the Aprilaire products. Normally that humidity set point is, say, at 55 or 50%. I like 50%. I think that's probably one of the best settings you can put it at. So as the humidity drops to, say, 46%, the dehumidifier usually kicks on after the humidity is raised 3 to 4% above the set point. So that raising of the humidity from when it shut off to when it comes on has a lot to do with the environment and how well it's encapsulated or air sealed. Usually that doesn't have anything to do with the dehumidifier. Okay. Now, if you live in an area that is super humid, so that outside humidity is wanting to bust in more frequently versus a mild humidity, say you got it at 50% and it's only 60% outside, the humidity is going to come in, with less aggressiveness versus 50% versus 90% outside. Okay. So anyway, those are all factors that will make the dehumidifier turn on more rapidly. Usually what we see in our climate in Tennessee, North Carolina, the South, different places like that, or areas that are very humid versus a Colorado, for example, is that even in the wintertime, it's still pretty humid here. So as the humidity lowers, that humidity wants to get into the crawl space. Remember, it's about equalizing pressure. That's why you see the H and the L on the storm system. They chase each other. Weather wants to equalize. So if you've got low humidity and high humidity, that high humidity wants to go in, where at the same time, if you've got high humidity in the crawl space, the vents are open, and you have low humidity outside, that crawl space humidity will want to leave. Okay, so it works both ways. So hopefully that answered that question for you. And I do apologize. I am at home, so if for some reason you happen to hear the mutts barking in the background, I am sorry about that. And they are truly mutts. They're golden doodles. So they are mutts. So anyway, all right. So let's read the next one. I plan on encapsulating the crawl space in my mobile home. Has Crawl Space Ninja worked on a lot of manufactured mobile homes? And if so, would would be some tips for extra steps I should take, given the fact that these homes are built differently than the stick-built homes. All right. So the mobile homes that we see typically here in East Tennessee, they usually have like plastic up against the subfloor of the mobile home, and then there is insulation, normally fiberglass insulation above that. All right, so in a stick-built house, that is a big no-no, and I don't know why they do that in mobile homes. Of course, they do it as their, modular homes. I think is probably the better way to say it. But as they cut those homes in half, or they build them half and half, or even if it's a mobile home where it's one home that was built, they transport those homes to their intended destination and put them on some type of foundation. Hopefully it's a permanent foundation, because usually the banks won't loan money against it unless it's on a permanent foundation. So they have this vapor barrier and this insulation up against that mobile home. Well, just like in a stick built house, that can trap moisture if you get a leak from above and come down. So I'm not saying that you want to just go in there and rip all that out, but be mindful of that, because if you've got a humidity problem under the mobile home and it gets somehow makes its way above that vapor barrier and then gets into the insulation, it's just going to trap the moisture. It's got nowhere to go. So I would almost treat a mobile home as if it was just a stick built house. I would want the subfloor exposed. If it's on a permanent foundation, insulate the foundation walls, put a dehumidifier inside the crawl space, air seal all of the major penetrations up in there to the best you can. I understand there's different things in there, like the wheels might still be there or something that they move the home to the pad or whatever. But those are the kind of things you need to think about, is giving that wood the opportunity to dry out if there's ever a leak from above, or vice versa. So we don't do a lot of mobile homes, but that I've seen plenty of them, and that would be my advice for somebody with a mobile or modular home. So, all right. So, hello puppies. Your live stream is scheduled on a different day. All right, very good. Hey, Crawl Space Ninja, I have an old raised rancher style home. There is a porch with ample crawl space area underneath. The previous owner used the area as a tool storage workspace. I'm in the process of renovating my basement and wanted to convert the crawl space area into a closet or more usable space, as it's accessible from my laundry room. Can you provide any advice? So there's an old raised ranch style home, the front porch with ample crawl space underneath. The previous owner used it as a tool shed. All right, so that's kind of it just kind of depends. I mean, if you want to use it for storage or a laundry room, if you want it to be conditioned, then I would do everything that you would normally do in a finished basement. I would insulate the walls. I would probably, if it's tall enough to stand in, I'd probably want to walk on slab. I'd probably pour a slab in that room and then put your electrical, your plumbing, and everything else down there. If it's like just a walk-in tall crawl space that's dirt, maybe you can put some gravel down, still want to control humidity, that sort of thing. I don't get a lot of questions about finishing crawl spaces, so I do apologize about that. But that would be my recommendation, is you don't want to go down there when it's really cold. So if you are going to supply heat down there, you want to make sure everything's insulated really well. You want to keep that air that could be coming into that area out as best you can, so that you can condition that air. So I hope that's some good advice for you there. I apologize for not having a better answer. When you put insulation on top of block, can termites build their tunnels between the wall of the insulation where you can't see them and know they are there, or do you leave a gap at the top between the insulation and the wood of the rim joist? All right. So the answer to your first question is yes. Termites can pretty much do whatever they want. I have seen termites eat mortar. All right. Now, maybe they didn't eat it, but they knew how to move it so that they could get through it. So termites can pretty much go between anything and do anything as far as that sort of stuff goes. We do not leave a gap between the insulation and the block wall, but yes, we do leave a gap between the insulation and the sill plate is what it's called. That's that piece of pressure treated wood that is sitting on the block or on the concrete foundation wall. That in the state of Tennessee is code required. And I'd say many states that have subterranean termites have that same code. We leave a 3-inch gap. Now, again, that does not stop the termites. That is not a termite deterrent. It's only there to give your pest control person visible access to be able to see if there's a tunnel leading from the insulation to the sill plate. That's it. So having a termite gap and never having inspections is irrelevant. It makes no difference at all. And I'll be honest, I've said this 100 times. I don't know why you have to have a termite gap in a crawl space, but not in a basement. Okay, so does that, I mean, what's the difference? Termites can crawl up basement walls behind them. I mean, I had a basement at one time and it had termites in it. And if there had been a gap above it, I might have been able to see them, right? Anyway, there's some things that just don't make sense to me. All right, so let's move on. YouTube comment. Hello, Michael. Encapsulation project in process. I have bay windows that protrude beyond the cinder block wall. Can I just do the foam board and seal them up? Thanks, Crawl Space Ninjas. So you have bay windows that protrude beyond the cinder block wall. Can you do foam board and seal them up? I mean, yeah, if you want to I'm assuming the windows are in the crawl space, so you don't want to be able to see through those windows anymore. I would think that would be an option that you could just seal them up. I would air seal them with spray foam and foam board to make sure that that's sealed up really good. So I'm getting some different answers today. So maybe if I could have some pictures on some of these, that would be great too. Maybe we need to set that up, Tiffany, to where people can send pictures so I can get an idea of what's going on. YouTube comment. I have noticed after removing fiberglass insulation, mold, wood rot, and lots of rodent droppings along the rim joist. Which of these Anabec products is right for me? None of them will do anything for rodent droppings, unless you're talking about disinfecting bacteria from the rodent droppings. Maybe that's what I'm guessing you're asking me. So the Anabec cleaner is a peroxide-based cleaning product. So that should be good enough to address those rodent droppings and mold along the rim joist. The wood rot, it should be able to take care of the wood rot too, but keep in mind, you've got to follow mold protocol. Okay, so if your rim joist is rotting out, if your rim joist is rotting out, then is that from an interior problem or is that from an exterior problem? Because usually when we see rim joists that are rotting, it's an exterior problem. So either there's a flashing issue outside, or the brick maybe has trapped moisture. I've even seen it where the roof line is, water get back there, travel down a wall, hit the sill plate and rot out the rim joist. So I would take care of that problem before I worried about fixing the wood rot and the mold and the mice or rat dropping issues. Because if you don't fix it, you can squirt Anabec till your eyes turn blue, like mine, and it's never going to take care of the issue because the wood is still wet. So you got to fix the water intrusion problem, whatever's causing that rot, dehumidify and dry that space out, then apply the Anabec. So hopefully that helps. Thank you, Michael, for sharing this video. I built a 32 by 32 detached garage behind my home several years ago that has an upstairs room I would like to heat in the wintertime here in Michigan. The building has insulation in the walls with baffles and at the ridges to allow airflow. The ceiling between the lower and upper floors are insulated, and the roof has a ridge vent as well. There is no insulation between the roof and trusses on the inside upstairs. No insulation between the roof and the trusses in the inside upstairs. What kind of insulation would I use to insulate the roof as to not have a mold problem? Do I need to have space between the insulation of the roof for airflow, or can I just insulate against the rafters and the roof panels? Thank you. No, I don't like to see insulation If you're talking about a pitched roof, so the sun's beating down on the shingles or the metal roofing, and you put insulation up against that without any kind of air barrier or the ability for air to move, there could be a lot of condensation between the insulation and that hot roof deck. Okay, so I call them baffles, but there's a piece of foam that you stick up against that roof decking, and then you put insulation over it, and that allows an air channel to travel up from the ridge down to the soffit. Okay, so that's the way I would recommend you do that. But in Michigan, you might want to contact a roofer that has a little bit more experience for your climate versus me, who lives in Knoxville, unfortunately. So I would maybe get with one of those guys up there. Now, if you're talking about a normal roof where you have insulation on the ground or on the ceiling of the attic, and then it's pitched up above you, and then there's no insulation up there, and you have humidity problems or ice damming in Michigan, you can do something about that with dehumidification and ventilation as well. So I would really probably defer that question to a local roofer to help you out with that. I apologize for not knowing the answer to that one. What are the average costs for encapsulation job? What should I be prepared to spend? 1,700 square foot house. Oh, that's a good question. All right. So we have done quite a bit of videos about ballparking crawl space encapsulation. So for me, the number one enemy in a crawl space is always humidity. All right. Always the number one enemy. So let's say you're on a budget. All right. So the low end would be paying somebody to seal the vents, possibly putting in an active ventilation system, dehumidifier, and electrical if you don't have anybody that electrical down there. So, that right there is, probably $2,500, $3,500, just that, right? If you've got to put new plastic down, insulation, you got mold, different things like that, like just mold remediation from people I'm talking to, crappy mold remediation is $3 to $4 a square foot, not including what I just said about the dehumidifier. Okay, so if you got 1,700 square feet, multiply that times anywhere between $2 to $4 a square foot for garbage mold remediation, that the spray and pray kind of guys, where they'll just go in there and squirt it with something and tell you got to do it every year or two because they don't know how to properly address mold. Those are the kind of things that you'll have to deal with. But we have seen jobs about that size go, $25,000, $35,000. Because if you need, heavy mold remediation, let's say you got floor issues where I got to put supports in, you decide to go with rim joist insulation, you got flooding issues where I got to do a trench, and then you want a battery backup because you want to protect your investment, and then you need downspout extensions. You can see it really starts to add up over time. So anyway, I know that's a very, very large ballpark. But those are the kind of prices that we see. We even had a lady that spent $35,000. I think it was a little less than 2,000 square feet. Her crawl space was tore up, and the ductwork was tore up. So we had to replace the ductwork too. So that's another thing that could add to that bill as well if you're not careful. Okay. Lisa asked, what is the order to properly remediate? All right. So, basically you want to dry it out first, so lower humidity. All right. Lower humidity, and then give the wood time to dry out. That's step one, or phase one is always drying out the crawl space. Once that's done, then you want to remove the mold. We prefer soda blasting, but you could scrub it off if you like, or, HEPA scrubbing, which doesn't really, do a whole lot as far as I'm concerned, because it's basically just a beater brush that you're smacking back and forth on the wood, and you can't really get in the corners. And, even hand scrubbing is limited, because if you got nails coming through, or, trying to reach back up in those areas, it's really tough. That's what I like about soda blasting. All right. So you do the soda blasting, then you, if you're going to scrub it, let's use our protocol, soda blast it, apply peroxide cleaner to get into the wood to kill the root system of the mold. And then you're going to either put a protectant on or not. after it's all done. We like the X70 because it helps to keep it from growing mold in the future, protects the wood from absorbing moisture in the future, and then of course a permanent dehumidifier put into the crawl space to control humidity. And then all of that will need ventilation, negative air, HEPA air scrubbers, and things throughout the house during that whole process. So that's kind of the order of proper remediation is what I would call that. And I think I've done a few videos about that. So if you maybe Tiffany, if you find one of those mold remediation videos that I've done in the past, maybe you could throw one of those into a chat. But great question, Lisa, because I was talking to a gentleman in Virginia Beach, and the company wanted to go in and spray kills all over everything, and I'm like, okay, well, what happens after the kills goes on? Are they going to dry out the wood? Are they going to, remove it? I mean, kills is not a mold remediation product. It's a stain blocker. There is zero mold remediation ability to kills. If you read the label, none. It's a stain blocker. It's not designed to kill mold. So anyway, sometimes you can do things that makes it a lot worse, because if somebody goes in and spray kills all over mold, I can't soda blast that off. I've had many people do that here in Knoxville. If you type in crawl space inspection on our YouTube channel, there's one where I walk through a crawl space that has already been kills. And we can't do anything with that mold remediation wise unless you want to pay me to get down there with a grinder and grind that kills off the wood. It's impossible to get off, and there's still mold trapped behind it that's still active. Okay, so sometimes you can mess things up. Is it okay to put insulated foam board and keep existing insulation in? If I remove the subfloor insulation, won't I lose heat? All right, that's a great question. I don't know who asked that, but the only reason why I would, first of all, I just want you to know, I hate subfloor insulation. All right. And the only reason why I hate it is because your house will eventually have a moisture problem or a water leak of some kind. All right. So, it doesn't care. I don't care if it's fiberglass, spray foam, rock wool, whatever. If you get a leak from above and it travels through the subfloor, hits the subfloor insulation, what happens? It traps the moisture against the subfloor. Then what happens? It rots out your subfloor. All right. That's why I don't like it. Now, I'm not going to tell you to remove it because of that reason. Just be cautious because of that reason. So if you don't have a water problem, you don't have mold in the subfloor, your crawl space has always been dry, leave the subfloor insulation up in there. I would maybe chase the wires and the ductwork and move the subfloor insulation and spray foam and air seal the subfloor above it, because that'll keep air from transferring between the living space and the crawl space. But other than that, the only reason why we remove subfloor insulation is because by the time we come, it's already damaged, or it's wet, or it's moldy, or whatever. But I'm not an advocate for just removing it just because. Normally, when we remove it, we have a reason to remove it. Technically, if you encapsulate a crawl, all right. So here's the two differences. If you have a vented crawl space, you have to have subfloor insulation. Period. There is no insulating the foundation walls if your crawl space is vented. All right. So because cold air comes in, the barrier is between the crawl space and the living space is the subfloor insulation. But if you seal the crawl space and control humidity, you don't even have to control humidity, just sealing the crawl space, then you can either insulate the foundation walls of the crawl space or subfloor insulation, or both. You can actually do both. And we've got some folks in those cold climates like Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, places like that. I even had a gentleman in Alaska that I interviewed. In some of those really cold climates, maybe both is better. But again, the problem lies if you ever get a leak from above. So just make sure you take care of any leaks from above, or try to have a way to monitor the crawl space for leaks from above if you have subfloor insulation installed. So that's a really good question. All right, I have a question that may be worthy of another Mythbusters in your book. My current crawl space is lower by 8 inches than the outside soil. Your current crawl space is lower than the outside soil by 8 inches. Many of the contractors in my area, Southeast Virginia, Northeast North Carolina, recommend adding sand in the crawl space to bring the grade of the outside grade to bring the grade up to the outside grade. Oh, I understand what you're saying. I would be interested to know if you think this is a good idea or value added in my situation. All right. So I don't think it's a good idea. Just, because sand doesn't stop water from coming in. All right. I mean, your crawl space can flood and have problems and all that. Now, granted, it's only going to get usually as high as the outside soil, right? But the other thing about sand is one of the worst condensating crawl spaces I've ever seen had sand on the ground and then had plastic over it. I don't know why. I'm not a what are they called? The soil people, the scientists that study rocks and all that kind of stuff. I don't know why, but this sand had the plastic had water, like condensate, like huge amounts of condensation on the plastic because the sand was so cold and the room temperature or the crawl space temperature was warm. And it just, did you help me out with that? No, she didn't. I was hoping she'd help me out with that. Tiffany, what's somebody that studies rocks and sand and all that kind of stuff? I can't think of it. I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, I don't like sand in crawl spaces. Now, of course, if you're in Wilmington, North Carolina, or Delaware, or Charleston, or something like that, you got a sandy crawl space. I get it. But adding sand for no reason to me isn't really that much of a benefit because you could still flood, you could still have a lot of high humidity, and the cost, you're probably just going to have to put in a trench and a sump pump anyway. So, not a big fan of adding sand to crawl spaces. All right, I want to do the work myself, but don't have time to stop everything and do it. What is the best time of the year to encapsulate in the Midwest? Geologist, yes. Is that it? I don't know why. I don't even want to tell you what I was wanting to call. Thank you, Tiff. Best time of year to encapsulate a crawl space? Whenever you have time to do it, because I mean, I think the best time to work on your attic is in the winter. That one is without a doubt the best time to work on your attic. But if I was to pick a climate that I would want to work in my crawl space, it would be the dry season. Okay, that would be the best time, in my opinion, to do it. Now, unfortunately, that's not usually when people do it because the roof only leaks when it rains, right? So if it's dry, the crawl space isn't that big of a deal. We don't need to worry about it. But to me, I would rather it be like, when I mean dry season is not only low humidity, but not a lot of rain. Whatever time of the year that is for you, if you were going to do a DIY project, that would probably be the best time I would recommend to do it. So, yeah, that was good. I couldn't figure out geologist. All right. I am installing an E100 return to return. I have an E100 supply spliced into an existing HVAC return using a WYE. Should I have installed directly into the return box? No. As a matter of fact, I think the way you did it is fine. Aprilaire has a really good diagram in their owner's manual about how to install it. And basically, let me see if I don't know if y'all can see my phone here. But so let's say this is the heating and air unit itself. So this is the box, right? So if the supply is on this side, they recommend that you duct it from the supply, bypass the dehumidifiers out here. So you take the return air into the dehumidifier and then go back in after on the supply side. So you completely bypass the HVAC unit. That's how we have always done it. I'm sure there's 1,000 ways to do it, but that's one of the ways that they show in the Aprilaire manual of how to do it properly. And I think you need, I think it's 10 feet distance between the return and the supply. So also check that. That's in the manual. So you might want to check my numbers. I can't remember if it's 6 feet or 10 feet, but I think it's 10 feet, or it's probably somewhere in between. So, all right. Is that all of them, Tiffany? Let's see. We got one more. Here's another. Where should the placement of the dehumidifier be and the vent fan? Which vent? Oh, great question. All right. So placement of dehumidifiers is, I mean, central would be better, but a lot of times if you put the dehumidifier in the center of the crawl space, it's if you got a decent sized crawl space, you don't want to crawl back in there to get to it. So I would rather you put it closer to the door. Now, if you have a hatch from above that goes down center, then that's great. All right, but I don't want it to be so far away from me that I dread going to do the maintenance. All right, so if I got to crawl over something or crawl under something or contort my body in a way to get to that dehumidifier, I'm not going to want to do it. I mean, how many of you want to change your air filters in your house and they're like in your living room? So, think about it. You got to have it close enough to where you can get access to it. So, if it's really close, let's say it's close to the door, you can point the dry air to the back of the crawl space. Okay, and that's effective. All right, so you can do it that way. And at that same example, I would put that vent fan the furthest away from the dehumidifier. So that way, that dry air has the ability to go through the entire crawl space before that vent fan can maybe pull it out of the crawl space. With the exception of, I would not put the vent fan under my bedroom. All right, it wouldn't bother me, but a lot of people, the noise of a vent fan isn't bad, but at 2 a.m. you can hear everything. So anyway, that would be my recommendation on that. So I got my last question. My last question is, and before I leave with my last question, as I mentioned before, check out the join and the levels, because that's something new that I just set up last night. And I don't know, I don't know if anybody be interested in it or not. If you're not, I don't blame you at all, because I'm just a crawl space guy, and maybe you don't want to join. But if you'd like to join, I'd like for you to join, and then I can maybe get a little personal with helping to do videos that you have issues with in your own house. So anyway, check that out if you don't care. Last question. What tape or other product is used to attach the vapor barrier to the walls and posts? Also, how would this turn out if I do not use the fastening tools? All right, so I'm not a big fan of taping plastic to foundation walls and posts by itself. But if you don't want to use a fastening tool, I would use butyl tape. All right, so two-sided butyl tape. By the way, our butyl tape and our seam tape, we sell a ton. I mean, it's a fantastic. If you haven't checked it out, it's wonderful. And we've had a lot of manufacturers send us butyl tape. And what I like about our butyl tape and our seam tape is butyl tape can actually, especially if it's warm outside, can melt before it gets to your house. Our butyl tape doesn't do that. All right. So it's a two-sided rubberized butyl tape. You stick it to the foundation wall, and then you put the plastic and like use your fist or use some kind of roller to kind of push that plastic onto the butyl tape. But I want to err on the side of caution. It will eventually fall off. All right. Adhesives always fail. That's why I like securing it through the butyl tape with either a Christmas tree fastener or a Hilti nail or something like that. Same with the seam tape. I've seen people like wrap seam tape around a pillar, and it's almost like wrapping your arm with a bandage. You know how they have that no tape bandage now, where as long as it wraps around itself, it works. Seam tape can be used that way around a pillar, but again, it's an adhesive. It could eventually fail. It's not even. We don't even put seam tape on block or concrete, because the block and the concrete's so rough, and it just comes loose and it doesn't stick really well. So anyway, that would be my advice about if you don't want to use some kind of tool, just use a two-sided butyl tape to stick the plastic to the pillar and the foundation wall. Just, if you can eventually throw up a Christmas tree fastener every 2 feet, that's still better than not having it mechanically fastened, in my opinion. So I am Michael Church, Crawl Space Ninja. I am so happy that you all joined me today. And my count, we have 12 people still hanging out with me. So God bless each and every one of you. And I hope you make it a happy and blessed day. And we'll see you later.